Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mac and Talk number 38 for Tuesday, July 26, 2022. I'm your host, Chanelle Allen. Mac and Talk is a Q&A conference call for anyone with Mac questions. Whether you're trying to decide if the Mac is a suitable device for you, or maybe you are just getting started and need some help with that initial voiceover, getting set up and getting familiar with all of that, or you could be a longtime user of the Mac with a particular question about an app or feature. For whatever reason, I am glad that you have joined us tonight, either now or later on via the podcast recording. Since this meeting is being recorded, we do ask that everyone stay muted at all times unless asking a question or making a comment. I'll go over how we do all that in just a little bit, but we do not use the raised hand feature. So, the first thing I'd like to draw our attention to is the iBUG Today website and social media. That's where we will find all the latest happenings, including upcoming trainings and workshops and so forth. If you want to explore our website, ibugtoday.org, that's a great place to view upcoming events, learn more about who we are, what we do, and most importantly, register to become a member. Registration is free, and you can participate in any and all training and social events free of charge. We do have a donate button if you so desire, but otherwise, get registered and you will receive announcements via email of all of our upcoming events. If email is not really your preferred form of communication, we are on social media, as I said. We have a Facebook site, facebook.com/groups/iBugToday. Our announcements are posted there, and it's a great place to ask questions in between events or just exchange information that's useful to all of us. Also, we are at iBug Today on Twitter and Instagram. And on Twitter, in addition to our announcements, our Twitter master posts lots of helpful Apple news, tech deals, rumors, more, and including lots of utility, how-to guides for the Mac and all info about the newest Macs and different things. So definitely check out our Twitter or visit twitter.com/iBugToday to read our tweets that way. And if you like to either consume media on YouTube, watch videos, well, we've got you covered there because we have a YouTube channel. It's if you just search for iBug Today, you will find recordings of the most recent training workshops, and lessons from the previous Mac course have been posted to YouTube as well. If you prefer getting podcasts, you can just ask your favorite speaker or even open your preferred podcast app of choice and look for iBug Buzz or iBug Mac and Talk. Those are options. And there is also a list if you wish to correspond with other Mac users via email to ask questions, share information. If you go back to our website, ibugtoday.org, and click on the Mac and Talk link, there's information on how to subscribe to our list, as well as how to contact me with any questions or feedback. All right, as far as our upcoming events, this Thursday we have It's iBug's Life from 6 to 8 p.m. here on Zoom, where advanced member George Batiste will facilitate a discussion on finances, financial literacy, and all that good stuff. And on Friday, we have iBug Night at the Virtual Movies, beginning at 7:30 with a pre-movie social, followed by the movie at 8, which is Shakespeare in Love, and a discussion afterwards. Next week, we have our weekly iBug Buzz. That's every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. It's for all of your iOS, iBug, accessory questions. Tonight we talk about the Mac. On Mondays on iBug Buzz, we talk about iOS and iDevices. On Tuesday on Clubhouse from 5 to 6, we have the iBug Mac Buzz, and that is like this call. So if you ask a question tonight and there's some follow up to it, or don't get a chance to ask a question tonight, then definitely join us for iBug MacBuzz next week on Clubhouse. For all of our other events and the upcoming dates and info, things like the Vila Book Club, the iBug Cafe, the Apple Workshop, iBug Unplugged, Android Insight, and more, definitely check out our website and the social media sites that I mentioned. And with that, let's get on to our call. So, how do we actually participate? I think most of you know. You basically wait to until a pause in the conversation, say your name, wait for me to acknowledge you and say go ahead, and then you'll make your comment or ask your question. When you're done and when it's actually been addressed, then please go back on mute. We have so many background noises that we're not even aware of. As far as the procedures for muting and unmuting, if you're joining us on an iPhone today, locate unmute in the lower left corner. All of these are toggles. On a Mac, it's Command Shift A. On Windows, it's Alt A. And on your iPad, it's up in the top middle. If you're calling in on a phone, I don't think we have any phone users, but it is *6. So now I'm going to allow everyone to unmute, and we're just going to go around and say your name, where you're calling from, and if this is your first time joining us for Mac and Talk, I am Chanelle Allen, and I live in Houston, and I've been on Mac and Talk for quite a while.
This is Brad. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I too have been on Mac and Talk for quite a while.
Welcome. Love to have you.
This is Janet from Colorado. I've been on Mac and Talk for a few months.
Awesome. Great to have you back.
Hi guys, it's
Oh,
go ahead,
I'm
Kathy.
sorry. This is Kathy from Tulsa, and I've been on iBUG for a long time, but I'm new to the Mac. I just was able to get one. It's an older one, and I'm hoping to learn how to use it.
great. Come to the right place. Welcome. Judy.
Yeah, it's Judy from Connecticut. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Glad to have you.
Thanks.
This is Darcy from Canada, currently in Tennessee, and I've been coming to these since around March, I think.
Okay, great. Well, we're happy to have you come back and be more involved in iBug.
This is Sandhya.
Hello.
Hello from Houston.
Welcome.
And I keep taking Chanelle's classes and I'm still learning.
That's okay. I'm still learning. I learn every time I have to teach it. So I'm relearning this stuff right along with you.
Okay.
This is Vincent in New Jersey, and this is, I think, my second or third.
Well, welcome. We're happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Karen from Texas, and this is my first time on this call, and I'm trying to decide if I want to get a Mac.
Hi, Karen. I think I recognize your voice.
You do. Hi, Chanelle.
Hi. Yay. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
All right.
This is Brenda. I'm from San Antonio, and this is my first time on the call.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
All right, so we like to ask new people, and you can feel free or not. How did you hear about us, Brenda? And do you have a Mac? You said, I think you said you didn't.
Yes, I do have a Mac, and actually I changed over to basically iOS everything once I started losing significant parts of my vision. And they had a presentation for our local chapter of NFB 2 weeks ago, and that's when I found out about it. So I decided to try it out and see if it will help me to get better at using the accessibility parts of my Mac.
Great. Welcome. And Kathy, you said you have a new Mac. I know you've been to lots of iBug events, but do you know what kind of Mac you have? And let's see. Was there anyone else who they introduced themselves who's new?
I think Karen said she was new to this
Oh,
channel.
Karen. Oh, that's KT. Okay. I was trying to place KT. All right. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, I'm new to this call. I'm not new to iBUG.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So would any of our new people, Karen or Brenda or Kathy, we like to give new people a chance to ask questions first if you're up to it. And if you want to pipe one in later too, that's fine. But the floor is yours if any one of you want to ask a question.
Okay, I guess I can start.
Okay.
I was during the sales recently, I was looking at Mac computers, and I had no idea because the prices are so high, what to get for someone who's just starting out, not, basically a Windows user and just want to know, just to get your feet wet, what model computer would you suggest, and what's the most affordable way to enter into the Mac?
All right, that's a great question. Does anyone want to help Karen out with that? Have any suggestions for good Macs to get started with and good deals and all that?
This
Well,
is
this is
Darcy.
Judy.
Yes, start.
Um,
We'll go Darcy and then Judy.
okay, yep.
Well, I was just going to say that I know their sort of entry level machine is the MacBook Air, and I think for just about anyone, it would meet their needs quite nicely. Is the sort of entry level MacBook Air that they sell, and especially with the new chips they have, they're plenty powerful for just about anything you might want to do. So I think that's where I would start.
Great. Judy?
And that's exactly what I was going to say. That's what I have. I bought mine about a year and a half ago with the M1 chip, and I love it. And it's the lowest price one. When I bought it, it was $999, but I think the new ones are $1,200 now. But I love it. I have no complaints. So thanks.
I think they still sell that M1 for either $9.99 or even $8.99 now. So it's even though it's last year's, you would get years out of it. Like that's actually one of the things about Macs is they support them for a long time. So no matter what you buy, like especially if you're buying a new one now, you'll get a lot of years out of it for sure.
Okay,
This
so
is
does that
Kathy.
base?
Okay, so let's go. So Karen, if you can remember to say your name, that would be super helpful. But we'll go with Karen and then we'll go to Kathy.
Okay, sorry.
That's
I was just gonna,
okay.
yeah, the base unit, does that come with enough RAM? What's the recommended RAM for 16 gigs? Is that, I mean, that's what we look at for Windows basically. So is it the same on the Mac or?
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad?
I think they're starting out with 8 GB of RAM now, which is really fine for most tasks. But the one thing I would recommend you do is upgrade the storage. I think on all of them now, the base storage is 256 GB. And since it's not upgradable, I recommend you get as much storage or as you think you will need, or even take it what you think you will need and get more. I would recommend that anyone get at least 512 GB of storage, which I believe is the second tier. I don't think they sell them with 128 anymore. That's definitely not enough. But even if you're planning to use cloud storage a lot, I would still spring for the extra cash. I think it's another $200 to go for 512, and because these things last a while. I mean, a Mac isn't like an iPhone where you're going to want another one in a year or two. A Mac can last you many years. So plan for the future and upgrade the storage.
Okay, great, thank you.
And Kathy, I think, had a question or comment.
Yes, sorry, before I thought I was unmuted, but I wasn't. So I ended up getting a Mac from a school that was getting all new computers and was selling their old ones for like $100. And I have an old, it's El Capitan is the year. So I don't know if I did a good thing by buying it, because I've been having some trouble. I don't know how to use it for one thing, but that's all.
Okay.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad.
Well, an older Mac with an older operating system is still not a bad thing. You can certainly learn the Mac. And if you decide this is something you really like and you want to get a newer, more up-to-date Mac, at least you'll know something more about it. But an older used Mac is often, a hand-me-down, or when you got from someplace, or in your case, one that you were able to buy at a bargain basement price. It's a good way to get your feet wet and understand them. I would think it's been a while since I've used a Mac with El Capitan. I know they had, I believe, already introduced iCloud. I think so.
I think so.
I can't
Yeah, I
remember.
think that's right.
Or was it Sierra that iCloud Drive came out? It may have been Sierra.
Oh,
Miss
man.
But
Kathy,
it's a good way to get your feet wet.
Yes, Kathy?
I read somewhere that I can upgrade to a later operating system.
This is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy?
It's very possible that you could. What you'll need to know is what model of Mac you have. And if you know that, then you can Google it and you should be able to figure out what the latest one that you can get is, because it's entirely possible that you're right, that you can upgrade. You may not be able to upgrade to the latest operating system, but you may be able to move, a few steps ahead.
Right.
This is Janet.
Yes, Janet?
You could take your Mac to a Best Buy in your area, and they can see whether you can get it upgraded or not, and upgrade it for you for another $100 or so.
Cool.
Yep.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad?
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you can open the App Store, and if a newer version or whatever it will take is offered to you, I believe it will only offer whatever your particular Mac is able to run. And another way to find out, like Darcy was talking, you find out what Mac you've got. If you're familiar with the menu bar, go to the Apple menu on the far left. It's just a little apple for a little symbol. Instead of saying Apple, it's a little apple. And if you open that menu, the first item on that menu is about this Mac, and that will tell you what you've got. It'll tell you what year your Mac is. It'll say something to the effect of, say, maybe MacBook Air 2013, or in case of when Kathy bought it, could be even over. It could just say MacBook 2009, something like that. But I had a friend that had a MacBook, I believe it was 2009. It could have been 2008. And she was running High Sierra, and it worked quite well for what she needed to do. So chances are you can upgrade it a little bit.
Yep.
And the upgrades don't cost anything. Apple offers them for no charge. So like I said, I'd check that App Store to see what it says.
Definitely. Those are lots of great suggestions, and hopefully that helps you, Kathy. And we kind of took Karen's question before, so the two questions got morphed, but hopefully that gives you some resources. I know when I purchased my first Mac, did it on the website on Apple, but I was able to chat with somebody from Apple. I was doing it and ask them questions, and so yeah, I have a Mac from 2012 that Herbie is still getting use out of. So they do last a long time. Anyway, who would like to ask our next question?
Karen, I have a follow-up when you have a minute.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Someone suggested to me that you can get better deals with refurbished machines, and I was just wondering if anyone has any experience with that. And also, what about the keyboard on the Mac Air? I was so I
Yeah, go ahead and
sorry.
finish, Karen.
Yeah, I have a friend who said that she has had trouble with some of the Mac keyboards and had sent the units back because she couldn't work with them. So I was concerned about that too,
Yeah,
because
this
I've
is
never seen
Brad.
one.
Yeah, Brad, I thought maybe you were gonna pipe
Yeah,
in there. Go ahead.
on the first part of your question, I have bought a couple of Macs through the refurb store. My first Mac was a 2012 Mac Mini, and I bought it from the refurb store. And then at some point later on, I bought myself a MacBook Air 2013, and it also came from the refurb store. You buy them from the Apple refurb store, it's a good deal. There's not a whole lot off of them, maybe $80, $100, depends on what you're buying. But they come, they don't come in a retail box. It comes in kind of a plain box. But other than that, it comes with all the accessories that a brand new one came with. And most importantly, it comes with a full 1-year warranty, just like a brand new one does. And I believe Apple Care is also available to purchase if you want the extended warranty. And, once you've got it out of the box and you're using it, you can't tell that it's a refurbished unit. It might as well be a brand new unit. On your question about the keyboard, beginning in 2016, at least on the MacBook Pros, I'm not sure what year on the Mac Air. Apple started with what they called the butterfly keyboard. So I would be careful of any Mac, any MacBook, either the Pro or the Air, that was new in 2016 through late 2020. I know, late 2000. I know on the MacBook Pro, the large one, the one that used to be a 15 that became the 16. That's when they started with it was a 4th generation butterfly, and that one eliminated most of the problems. But then the newer ones, they have gone back in style to the old scissor keyboard, and that definitely started in 2021. So other than those ones, those
This is
early
Darcy.
butterfly keyboards, I'd stay clear of those.
This is Darcy.
Yes, Darcy.
Okay, actually, the just on the MacBook Airs, they came out with one in the last generation Intel MacBook Air, which is the one I have, and it came out in, I think, mid 2020. That's when they started the scissors, the scissor keyboards again on those. So yeah, anything from 16 to 20, I would be careful about, because you're right, those keyboards, they had a problem. And I think Apple's reputation really took a hit with those, because there's a lot of people, just have heard anecdotally about those keyboards, because they had problems. But if you're buying a newer Mac now, and probably I don't know how far back, maybe Brad, how like stuff in the refurb store goes, but I would guess that most computers you're going to get now probably don't have the butterfly keyboards. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is Brad.
Yeah, Brad, go ahead.
Probably not. The refurb store generally does not go back that far. I'd be surprised if you would find anything earlier than 2010. I'd maybe 2020, but I doubt it. One other thing to look for, even though the 4th iteration of the butterfly keyboard was considered a better one, it still had the butterfly feel to it, but it didn't have the problems. Just look for one where the arrow keys are in the inverted T layout. The ones that were the not good keyboards with the butterfly did not have inverted T. They had an arrangement of the arrow keys where your left and right arrows were full size and your up and down were half size keys. And on the 4th iteration, I believe I know on the MacBook Pro, they went to the inverted T. They went to a physical escape key, but those were the touch bars. The MacBook Air never had a touch bar.
No.
So you're not going to, telling you to look for a physical escape key ain't going to do anything there. But make sure it's got an inverted T layout to the arrow keys.
It's Kathy.
Yes, Kathy.
So when I got my computer, I set it up and all I was supposed to need to do was type in my username and password, and my keyboard just wouldn't work. It kept saying, I think it was saying error. And somehow I figured out, because I'm playing around with the keys and trying to, figure out which keys turn the voice on and whatever. It seemed to me that the D kept saying H, like if the D's thought they were H's and the H's, there were like several letters that wouldn't work. And of course, the password that I had a D in it, so I could never get past the password. And anyway, somebody said that I could just plug in a regular computer keyboard, the I don't know if it's called the 101 keyboard, but the one that connects for Windows computers, which I did, and it works. I mean, I know there's got to be some difference between, where you have the what is it that you have the control and the command and the option, and this one just has the control and the Windows and Alt. So
This is Brad.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, you're going to find a different arrangement. The Windows key will be the command key and the Alt key will be the option key. So those two are kind of switched if you're using a Windows keyboard.
but is that a good option for anybody to use a Windows keyboard?
Whatever you get used to. I go back and forth between a couple of different Macs, so I don't like ones. I've never liked using a Windows keyboard because, I'm using a laptop with a built-in keyboard. I'm using I have a Mac Mini that's got an Apple keyboard on it. So I've never liked using a Windows keyboard on my Mac, but other people who don't have that problem, there's probably a way to remap the keys, but I've never really figured that out or messed with that.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
That's all right. I'm done.
Okay. Yeah, no, and this kind of relates to Karen's question too. I unfortunately did get one of those computers in 2017 that had, the keyboard's doable, but what I love to do is use an external keyboard, and it's a little bit more pricey, but if you manage to get an Apple Magic keyboard. I have the full size one that also has the numeric keypad, but it works great. I can use it both when I'm on my Mac to do Mac things, and then when I boot my Mac into Windows, I can, use it in Windows because it has all the keys that I need. The regular size Apple Magic keyboard is also good, and the nice thing about those is you can connect it both via Bluetooth or even USB, and it can even serve as a keyboard while you're charging it via USB. So it's a great option if you want to go into the external keyboard route. So hopefully that helps both Kathy and Karen, but I think Brad and Darcy gave some excellent ideas on what computers to avoid, which ones start having the normal functioning keyboards again. So hopefully that helps. And if there were I don't think there were any other comments on this topic. So let's see who has another question.
This is Suva.
Suva.
Hello. So, yeah, my question is maybe somebody already covered it, but I was looking for an alternative to Voice Dream Reader, but in a Mac version. And I know there is one out there, but I'm looking for an alternative to a non-subscription version of that. Maybe not a Voice Dream Reader, but similar program that does very similar things, but in a Mac.
All right. Does anyone have any feedback, any apps they use that are like Voice Dream Reader, but whatever, that work well on the Mac?
This is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy.
Okay, so what do you need it to do? Are you looking for one to read, like, say, EPUB documents? Are you looking for it to play audiobooks? Because if you're just looking for like things like EPUB documents or PDFs or whatever, you might find the books app that's built in might meet your needs.
So this is Suva.
Yes, Suva.
Hopefully, what my main purpose is, if anybody's aware of what Bookshare is, and so the Bookshare books, Learning Alley is another one, and just Project Gutenberg. So the different resources I'm planning to have. Well, I like to have one place where you can have all of those books downloaded and ready to go in an audio format. So if it's an audio version, that's great. But if it's not an audio version, I like it to, the AI should be able to do that just like voice stream readers. So, and the MacBook has its own voiceover. So that's great too. But an alternative to that, other than voiceover, reading you the books.
So, unfortunately, even Voice Dream Reader for the Mac yet does not have alternative voices. It may be getting that feature, or so I've heard, but right now you just use the voiceover voice. So, I don't know if I have not heard of any other type of app like that. That would be really neat because, yeah, I do know what you mean. You can definitely download Bookshare books in different formats, but then they do have to be read with your voiceover. So, does anyone else have any feedback on this question? Or are we waiting for that Mac app to be invented, developed, whatever?
Sounds good. Thank you.
I think, this
Yeah,
is Darcy. I think that's sort of a tall order because that's
it
things
is.
that can do things like Bookshare, Learning Alley. That's a very, very niche thing. And
Yes.
I think since voice stream reader is doing it, I can't imagine anybody else is going to make an app like that. And if they do, I can't imagine they would, that they would have it for free or for
Yeah,
because I think that's, like I said, such a niche thing.
definitely. Yep. Well, Suva, if I hear of anything, I don't know. Now, there is that Dolphin Easy Reader. Again, they have an iPhone app, but I don't know if they make a Mac app. Um, but they're another. But anyway, if we hear of something, we'll let you know. Otherwise, it is very niche. And yeah, who knows? All right. So, who would like to ask the next question?
This is Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy.
I'm wondering, do you have the opportunity with Mac Talk? Do you do the same kind of thing that iBug does with the iPhone, where you can have like a mentor for the Mac?
Um, What we don't do any one-on-one mentoring. We do offer a Mac training course. It's a 12-week class, and it you know people come and it takes place on Zoom, and there's the lecture part where I share my audio and demonstrate, go through kind of the basics of using the Mac, and there's reading. It's kind of I guide you along the way, but it's a lot of work that you have to, practice and things you have to do on your own. But
Mhm.
no, we don't have a one-on-one mentoring program per se.
Okay, I've it's Kathy again. I've looked at the
Yeah,
class, and I would like to try and take it, but I almost feel like I need a pre-class thing. Like I can't even, once I turn the computer on, I just don't know what what to do, where to go, or how to. It's like I need some kind of intro. Well, I guess there is some kind of intro on the Apple, right? I mean, there's a
there
Mac.
is
There is, yes.
Okay.
the voiceover tutorial, and that's actually what I tell people to go through getting started. So, yeah. A lot of the stuff, you would be doing anyway. I just kind of try to present it in somewhat of an organized fashion, and but I'm sure there's definitely resources for one-on-one training, but yeah, related to just know, as far as encouragement for anyone who wants to learn the Mac, it's possible. You just have to find ways that you want to use it. Even me, I don't use it as much as I should unless I, oh, Herbie's teaching me something new with audio, how to share, something over Zoom, or how to do this. You have to find a motivation, and for all of us that motivation might be a little bit different.
This is Janet.
Yeah, Janet.
Um,
I heard
I have
somebody else too, but go ahead, Janet, and
I
then
have a question for Kathy.
okay.
Do you know Braille?
Yeah, well, I do, but my hands are a little numb. I'm not very good at reading it anymore, but I mean, I know it.
Because I was gonna recommend. I think one of the things that Chanelle talked about at the end of the classes was a Braille book from, I can't remember where it was from.
Of like
You
from
can get a
National
Braille
Braille.
book.
Okay.
Yeah, even that I don't actually, but they do offer things in multiple formats.
Yeah, multiple formats. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be Braille. But yeah, I think somebody else was it a
Yeah, this is
gentleman?
Pete, Janelle.
Oh, Pete. Yes. Okay.
Hi,
Great.
sorry I came in late. How's
No
everybody
problem.
tonight? I wanted to offer another suggestion for Kathy, and that is the iBUG YouTube channel, because you have posted, Chanelle, your actual lessons, the individual
Right.
chapters or lessons from your last Mac training class in YouTube video format, Kathy, and
Right.
they're very limited in terms of the scope. They're clearly marked, the lesson titles, and I've actually viewed several of them myself. So you can find a good starting lesson. I don't know, Chanelle, off the top of my head, what might be a good lesson to start with, but that would be
Oh,
an
the first
excellent
one.
Yeah, that would be a
Yeah.
good one. Lesson 1.
Yep.
Start at the beginning.
Yeah, I know that's a strange concept, but yeah, no. I know you want to be able to jump into lesson 5, but it all builds on everything builds on itself. So, yeah, thanks, Pete, and good luck learning, Kathy. And who would like to ask the next question if all other questions have been addressed? I'm trying to remember where we were in the scope of the conversation. I think we were. So, yeah, let's see if anyone else has a question.
This is Janet. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Janet.
Okay. How do you take you're on your Mac and you have a web page?
Mm-hmm.
How do you either A, save it as a favorite, or B, put it on your Finder so you can get to it quickly?
Great question. Who would like to answer that?
This is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy, go ahead.
Okay. Well, if you're in Safari and you're on the page you want, and you go to, let me just open up Safari here. Unfortunately, I don't have my thing set up so you guys can hear this, but I'll just.
That's okay.
So let's just go to iBUG today, for example. All right, I'm on iBUG today, and if I look on my menu bar and I go to bookmarks and I go to add bookmark, and by default, the first thing it will show me is where do you want that to go? And I think by default it goes in favorites, which is on your favorites bar. And then to the right of that is the name of the thing. So you could change the name if you wanted. And then you can put a description in. I've never filled in the description field, but I guess if you had a lot of bookmarks, you could. And then there's a cancel, and then there's the add, which is a default button, which of course means at any of those fields, you can just press enter. And I have now added iBUG into my favorites. So you just have to do that. And then the favorites is like that favorites bar, which may or may not be visible depending on how you have Safari set. And but you can get to it from the bookmarks menu. And then of course, instead of the favorites, you could actually set up in the bookmarks menu, and you can set up like different folders and all that kind of stuff, however you want to organize your bookmarks. But it's easy to add them just with that add option on the Safari. And actually there may be a shortcut key for that. I didn't happen to notice.
Maybe Command D. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, Command D.
Oh, okay.
I was also going to say, did she ask what was a way to put it on the desktop?
She did.
Okay, that's saving it. There is a command in there. It's in the file menu, and it says save or save as. If you just are on the website and you do command S, it will open your save as dialog that you've seen everywhere else, and it will give it a generic name, something like website alias. I can't remember what it is, but right there you change it to whatever you want. Like you could, if you're on the iBUG Today website and you hit Command S, you can change it to say iBUG Today. And as you move through, it'll ask you where do you want to put it. And if it's not already saying desktop, you can change it to desktop or any folder you would like to have it in. And then save it, and it will be on your desk as a Safari alias, something like that.
Yep, very good. Awesome. All right. So hopefully that helps you, Janet. Yeah, you'll find when you really do the Mac, pretty much anything and everything you need will be in the menu bar, even if we can't remember shortcuts. You just find it, looking at the menus, which are very accessible and everything is laid out. And what's great about the menu bar, too, is that VoiceOver will announce any menu options that have keyboard commands associated with them. So. Great question. It's important to cover those basics and learn how to browse Safari and more efficiently. All right, who would like to ask our next question? And welcome to those of you who have joined us recently and come on in. We're happy to have you. I see Peter's already spoken. We have somebody with a phone number and Stomatus and lots of people. So thanks so much for coming and feel free to pipe up at any time with a question.
This is Brenda.
Yeah, Brenda, go ahead.
Someone mentioned that there's a YouTube channel or location I can go to. I have a Mac desktop and an iPad, and so I use it, but I know I'm not using all the technology that comes with it. But I'm like the last caller. I use it, I turn it on, I turn it off. I don't really do a
Right.
lot with it. So I want to take the class you were talking about, but I need that little refresher beginner intro to the real class as well. So how can I get to that again?
All right, so if you just go to YouTube and search for iBug Today, and then there is the, I think it'll say Mac Training. You're looking for the Mac Training playlist. I'd be I think you contacted me via email last week, so I would be more than happy to send the link to you and to
Yes.
anybody. If you can't find it by going to our channel, just go to ibugtoday.org, look for Mac and Talk. My contact info is on that page, and you are welcome then to contact me to ask for the link to the videos.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's so many great resources out there as well. And somebody has some background noise. Let's see.
Oh, sorry, I think it's me. Sorry.
Okay. There's, AppleVis, all the things that I assign for my class basically come from AppleVis because people have written some really excellent guides on lots of Mac apps and just using VoiceOver. It's an awesome site. Janet did mention the National Braille Press book. I found some kind of inconsistencies and slight little errors in that in the past, but it's still an excellent resource. So there's lots of Mac discussion lists. So the resources are out there. You may just have to dig a bit to find them. So, and I'm happy to direct you to what I can. But does anyone else have a question? Or is there any neat little app or neat little thing you've been able to do on your Mac recently that you would like to share about? A new app you downloaded and tried, whether it worked or not, something you learned.
Karen.
Yeah, Karen,
Okay, back to the basics question.
that's
Um,
fine.
when you get your new Mac, how do you get VoiceOver on?
All right. I was about to answer, but let other people have a chance to answer. So, who would like to answer that question?
This is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy, go ahead.
Okay, this is actually something that is really neat. When you
Hmm.
get a new Mac, and you turn it on, after it boots up, and it might play some music. Actually, I don't think it plays music anymore, but it will actually tell you that Mac OS contains a built-in screener called VoiceOver. If you'd like to learn how to use VoiceOver, it will tell you how to do that. Or if you already know how to use VoiceOver, it will tell you how to turn it on. So you could, right from that very beginning, from when, from first taking it out of the box, VoiceOver is right there for you to use, and it's right there to give you the tutorial. And the tutorial basically teaches you everything you need to get through the setup process of your Mac. It was really, that was actually one of the things when I first got my Mac, and I was relatively early to this thing. I got my first Mac in 2006. And even back then, that was the thing that really impressed me. Like, I was able to get it going completely up and running without any sighted assistance. And I mean, that was back then. It's better now even than it was. So it will tell you exactly how to do that when you put it on.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, even a sighted person, if they don't respond quick enough, they have to hear it say to use English, press enter, and then it goes into the voice. Welcome to VoiceOver. It's great.
Yeah.
So,
This is Pete.
yeah, Pete.
I was just double checking to see who was that who asked that question, by the way?
Karen.
Hey, Karen, if you have a new Mac or if you've already opened it and you're past that stage, and is there a way that we can tell her to get to VoiceOver if she's already past that and opted not to take advantage of the VoiceOver initially?
Yes, there is. I don't think Karen has a Mac yet, but for anyone,
Okay.
yeah, you can press. It really
Command
depends
F5.
on. Yeah, very
Yeah.
good.
What is
Or
it?
if what?
It's the Command key, which is the equivalent of your Alt key
A
immediately
minute.
to the left or right of the keyboard of the space bar. Command F5.
Yeah,
will,
that's what I thought. That's like
will
the only
toggle in.
command I know. I thought I
That's
knew.
a good
That's a
start.
good one.
Well,
A
it's a good one to
critical
know.
one.
Yep.
Good deal. Thank you.
Now,
All
the
right.
other command I read, I'm sorry, this is Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy, go ahead.
The other command I think I know is that if you want to get the tutorial started, hit F8 with something or other. But my F8, I don't know, it doesn't seem to work. It wants to be like speed up or something, speed up or slow down, or volume up or volume
What?
down.
You may be dealing with. I'm sorry, this is Darcy.
Yeah, go ahead, Darcy.
I apologize.
No, you're good.
So this is a laptop, I assume, Kathy, that you have?
No, it's like a giant heavy monitor and then a skinny little keyboard.
Okay, so it's an iMac you've got. So because I was thinking about that, the FN key. Well, actually, this still might be the case depending on the keyboard, but there may be an FN key that you have to press as well, which is the bottom left key on your keyboard. And if you press that with the VoiceOver and the function keys, because the function keys can also be, and they differ from Mac to Mac, but they are things like the volume control, the display brightness, things like that. And they differ from model to model, but that may be, and you can actually set that in your preferences. Once you get further into things, you can decide, like, by default, do I want my function keys to be used for these hardware things, or do I want them to be regular function keys? But for now, they may be set, the way you don't want. So that's probably what's going on.
This is Brad.
Yeah, Brad, go ahead.
Well, because I know Darcy's always used a MacBook, you may not be aware that if you have a a keyboard. It sounds like Kathy's got an iMac. So if you're not using a MacBook, the FN key is not on the bottom row on the far left. I wish it was. Older external Mac keyboards do not have an FN key at all. I have an older one from
Oh.
2006, and there's no FN key, in which case you cannot make the F keys do hardware functions. On the newer keyboards, like the Magic keyboard that Chanelle has, and I've got a couple of those as well, the FN key is in the extended key area, you know, the keys that we sometimes call the 6-pack
Oh
keys.
yeah.
They put it in the top
Oh,
Yeah.
left where the insert key would be on a Windows extended keyboard. My
yeah.
older MacBook, older Mac external keyboard, there was a help key there. I believe it actually had just a question mark on the key. But what Darcy's saying is he's right. You can, if you have a keyboard with a function FN key on it, you can change the behavior of the F keys, and it's fine on the MacBook Pro because it's down there on the lower left where you got your hand on the voiceover keys. But on that external, the newer Magic keyboards where it's in the 6-pack area, I always go into my keyboard preferences and tell it that I want my F keys to behave as normal F keys, because when you're doing voiceover commands, you frequently need to use VO and one of those F keys for something. And that's hard to do to operate a voiceover keyboard. Press that FN key in the 6-pack area and press an F key up on the function key row.
This is Pete.
So depending
Yeah.
on which
So,
one you've got.
and that unfortunately that manual is VO command and then F8. So you may have to press
Ah,
VO
okay.
command FN,
That's the
F8.
tutorial.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
tutorial.
That's a
So it's an
tutorial.
easier way
Oh,
to get to it by pressing just VOH and arrowing through the
oh,
menu until you get to it. That's easier way to get to it. And as far as the 6-pack, mine actually looks a bit more like a 9-pack because there's a top row of function keys that's immediately right above that 6-pack. So if you're ever
Yeah.
trying to find, it looks more like a horizontal kind of grid of a 3x3 thing of
yeah.
keys. So
That's
This
what
is
mine is.
Brad.
And then it's got 3 above.
Yeah,
yeah,
this is Brad.
yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, actually, those are 3 more F keys. And if you look
Yeah.
at it real closely,
Oh, that's
you've got a
right.
bit of a gap between the
Mm,
6-pack keys and those 3 extra keys. But yes, it is a little confusing.
This
it's
is
not
Pete.
that much. Yeah, okay.
Once
So
you
I
get
think
used to it, it's fine.
no, I know where it's at. I'm just saying it looks like yeah. Anyway, go
Yeah.
ahead, Pete.
Is that the little skinny keys above the 6-pack? Because I've got
Yeah.
this regular 6-pack, and then there's a row of 3 keys right above it
Do
that
you
are
have an
actually a little.
this
I
is
have
Brad.
a
Do you have
Apple.
extended Magic
Yes, I
keyboard
do.
with the
Not a
Yeah.
numpad?
Magic. It's a
Y-
USB. It's an older one,
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
but
My
they're a
wife
little
has one.
skinnier from
It's like a
top to
really
bottom.
thin
Yes.
Okay.
keyboard.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
I
that
have
talking
would
about
be the
another
different
same
keyboards
suggestion.
layout.
here. Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's like you have on that one. There's no touch ID, so those
Right.
keys are, if you turn on keyboard help and press them, it should say F14, 15, and
Yep.
16. On
Cool.
the
Yeah, you
keys with the touch
Um,
ID, those are F13, 14, and 15.
Well, that was my other suggestion that I was going to offer to Kathy is try keyboard help, and then you can see which
Yep.
keys are which would
right.
Correct.
be
Right.
Correct.
VOK.
Yep.
Voiceover keys, which are your command option keys,
control and
assuming you're
option.
not using the Windows keyboard, and then the
Right.
letter K.
Actually, so Paul had ordered these weird keyboards. They're more mechanical and they've got really big keys. And I'm trying one of those. So it is a Windows keyboard, but it does have the 9 keys like you described, and then 3 keys above that. And it has the upside down T for the arrow keys.
All right. Well, yeah. So I did not know that early Macs did not have an FN key, but I do cover in my lesson 2 how to change the behavior of the function keys, and that lesson 2 is on YouTube. So, was somebody else trying to make a comment as well, getting into our conversation? I know I heard Jesse come in, but okay, maybe not. All right, so let's see who else has a question.
This is Suba.
Yes, Suva?
Okay, so maybe somebody already have a way. Maybe it's an easy fix, but I have a question about the Magic Mouse with uh, the the MacBook Air. So I'm trying to get to the. Whenever you go to the settings, it has a different name for the Magic Mouse, and I'm trying to find a way to see if there's a way to change the name on the mouse, and just to see if there's a way to change it, because I think it wasn't brand new. I didn't buy it brand new. I just bought it as a secondhand, and it still have the previous person's name. I don't know how to change it. So anyway,
All right. So are you using VoiceOver with your Mac?
yes.
Okay. But you just want to be able to find a way to rename. Does anyone know of a way to rename a device like that? I can't say I've ever
I didn't know that you could even do that.
yeah.
Usually device names are their names. Like, I mean, obviously things like, AirPods and stuff like that you can personalize, but I didn't know. Granted, I've never had a Magic Mouse. So, I mean, maybe you can rename it.
Yeah, well, I don't know on that one.
This is Brad. I'm sorry, I was distracted. I was trying to take care of something else. My wife has a Magic Mouse. What was the question?
He wants to be able to rename it because
I
it's
don't think
showing
you
the name of the
can.
previous one.
No, I don't think you can. I
Okay.
don't know how they get their name.
Hmm.
I've seen some of them. I've like had a trackpad and it called it Brad's Magic Trackpad, and other times it's just called Magic Trackpad. And I see the same thing. My wife's first Magic Mouse was called Kathy's Magic Mouse, and when she decided that one wasn't working properly, and I got her another one, the second one's just called Magic Mouse. But I'm not aware of any way to rename it.
Do
There
they
may
show
be
up
something in there I don't know about, but
Do they show up in devices in iCloud? I don't know if they connect. On your iCloud, you can
I
see all the
just
different.
says Brad. I just see them under Bluetooth, under devices.
Yeah, this is super. That's where I'm seeing it. The Bluetooth under devices and under mouse. Yeah.
Okay.
This is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy, go ahead.
I just did a Google search for renaming the Magic Mouse, and there were a lot of results that came back. So I know, unfortunately, a bunch of them were videos, but I think there were some articles as well. So I'm sure you'd find something, but not that this is helpful here, but it looks like it's the kind of thing that a lot of people want to do. So there are a lot of places online where it looks like you can find steps on how to do that.
All right. Well, you learn something new every day.
Sounds good. This is super. I'll check it out. Thanks.
Awesome. Great.
This is Pete.
Yes, Pete.
Since there seems to be a slight lull here, I wonder if I could ask Darcy a resource question.
Go ahead.
Darcy, is the Accessibility Roundtable still viable and alive and going?
Yes, we took some time off for the summer. I am actually going to be posting a brief episode probably on Thursday. Actually, it's going to be the Wordle demo that I did for iBUG, and but we'll be back in the fall, either I think the first week of September, or when Apple does their September product announcements, kind of whichever comes first. Yeah, we did. We tend to take some time off in the summer just because there's not as much Apple news going on. Plus, a lot of people have stuff going on in the summer. So, but yep, we'll be back in the fall. Actually, no, that's not true. We actually will have an episode on August 11th. Because we didn't want to be away the whole summer. We'll be on August 11th. We'll have a show, and then we'll be back on our regular schedule in September.
This is Pete. That's the Maccessibility Roundtable. Is still the correct name?
Yes, and you can get it at maccessibility.net.
Yeah,
Pardon?
You've been around since 2006 or 7, I believe, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we started in 2008, or before that I did Screenless Switchers, and so we've been doing Screenless Switchers since 2006. But I think we started Maccessibility in 2008 or 2009. Did it before iOS was accessible. Yeah, I know that, yeah. But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, Darcy's been around since before Dirt in terms of the
Mac.
Yep. That was one of the podcasts that I cut my teeth on back in 2010.
I think we might have been Screen the Switchers was I'm almost definitely sure was the first Mac related accessibility podcast.
So this is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
To give you an idea of how long Darcy's been around, so back on my radio show that I did in 2010, I was interviewing this person named Chanelle Allen, who just recently got an iPhone.
Actually, that wasn't her name back then, but...
Oh, you're right, it was Chanelle Hill, fine. Anyway, but my point is, we were talking about resources, and the one that she mentioned, even though we had a list of them, was... she pronounced it as Maccessibility, but... the very same Maccessibility website that is still around today, Chanelle mentioned that as an iPhone resource back in 2010. I have the audio to prove it. I'm not going to play it. Don't worry.
Good.
Yeah, we've been doing it for a long time. Some people might say too long, but we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Ooh, play it.
No, let's not.
Go look
I'd have to actually go find the particular snippet,
and
so sorry.
It's not appropriate here, so anyway.
I will. This is Herbie. Real quick, I am actually going to post a YouTube video of the interview that I did with Chanelle and the interview that Chanelle did with me several months later, and those will be on YouTube, and they'll be posted to the iBUG group on Facebook. So,
under what category? Love.
Okay.
Look forward.
Well, there is no category in the group.
All right, do we have any more actual Mac questions? Or, as I was mentioning earlier, anyone is welcome to talk about an app they've recently tried, something cool they learned on the Mac, anything is welcome.
This is Jesse.
Yes, Jesse, glad to have you.
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah. Did I ask this before? I've been trying to figure out how to turn off the trackpad. The onboard trackpad on a Mac.
Right. Yeah, that's I think we've talked about it before. I'm not sure if you'd asked, but yeah, sometimes it's just very annoying and you want to turn it off. And
This is Brad.
yes, Brad.
I think you can fool it by going into accessibility. Is it mouse or pointing devices? I believe there's a setting that says, you want it to be the trackpad to be turned off whenever an external mouse is plugged in. And that's the only way I know to do it.
Okay.
You have to plug in a mouse, a USB mouse, or even if you have one of those Logitech mouses that has this little USB dongle that plugs in. If you just plug that thing in, even if it's not turned on, you just have that thing plugged in. I believe it will turn off the trackpad or disable the trackpad.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really don't want to have a dongle or even have to have a wireless mouse device. On the Mac 16 inch, the trackpad's ultra wide and it's easier to hit.
They're
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
This
So
is
one thing that helps, but it doesn't solve it, is to turn the tracking speed down to 0.
that would help,
And I
yeah.
think Darcy had a comment.
Oh, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, one thing I would make sure that you I assume, are you a voiceover user?
Yes.
Okay. One thing I would make sure you do is I think it's under navigation, make sure that you don't have sort of voiceover doing anything with the mouse, either following the mouse or leading the mouse, because then if you touch the trackpad, it probably won't matter as much. I mean, there still are situations where touching the trackpad can make things happen, but if you don't have voiceover like following the mouse, that should because I barely notice. I'm sure I touch the trackpad all the time, but I barely notice anything because I just have it sort of, I have voiceover sort of ignoring the mouse unless I specifically need the mouse pointer for some reason.
So have it so that mouse pointer ignores voiceover cursor.
Right. Because
Okay.
you can either have it follow the voiceover cursor, or you can have the voiceover cursor follow the mouse pointer. I find, now this is a personal choice thing. Some people will probably disagree with me. I know some people like to have the mouse pointer follow voiceover, but I found that gets me into trouble more often than not. So I just have it ignore and you shouldn't. Then most of the time the mouse pointer can be, wherever it is. I don't even care unless there are still situations where you need to, use drag and drop or click on something. That's becoming less and less. It used to be a lot in the early days where you had to, click on stuff with the mouse, just VO space wouldn't do anything. But there's less and less of that. So I would do that and make sure that's turned off. And I think even if you're still touching the mouse pointer, you may not notice as much.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks.
Yep.
Awesome. It's a great suggestion. Okay. Who would like to ask our next question? Sandhya, now would be a great time for your questions or for anyone else, but I know you sometimes have questions.
This is Suba again.
Yes, Suva?
Quick question about inverting the brightness on a Mac. Is there a quick key for that? Just very quickly.
Yes.
This
F1.
is Brad.
Oh, go ahead, Brad.
You have to first enable it by you can do that in either going into keyboard and then under shortcuts and in the category accessibility, you can enable the keyboard command to invert colors. But once you've done it, the keyboard command is Control, Option, Command, number row 8. Now, because that uses one of the options for a voiceover, you used to have to be able to use the voiceover pass-through, which is VO tab, and then do that command. But I have learned that at least in Monterey, excuse me. I'm not sure about Big Sur, but definitely in Monterey, it won't work. You have to turn voiceover off with Command F5, then do that command to toggle your invert colors, and then you can turn voiceover back on.
This is Suba. So I have I think the latest version of the Mac OS, and so I have to turn off voiceover to invert my color.
This is Brad. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I've been using one now for almost 10 years, and you were always able, because it uses Command Option, which is one of the options for the VO key, and not Command Option, Control Option.
Control.
And that's what I always use. I prefer that to the caps lock key. Some people prefer the caps lock key. But and maybe if you have the caps lock set as your voiceover modifier, you don't have to turn it off. But I for years would use the voiceover pass through, which is VO and the tab key. And then you hear voiceover say, voiceover will ignore the next keyboard command. And then I would do Control Option Command number 08, but it does not seem to work under Monterey. I'm never turn it on and off. I turn on invert colors and leave them on. But occasionally I might, have somebody look at something on my computer, or they need to see a picture or something. Although there's a sort of a smart invert. I can't really tell if it inverts pictures or not. I see a little bit, but I don't see that well.
Gotcha. This is super. Thank you.
All right.
This is Herbie.
Yes, Herbie.
So I made a very interesting discovery last week, which I must admit I was not expecting, and I have to give Brad a little bit of credit for reminding me of this inadvertently. He didn't do it intentionally, I promise, but back during our Mac class, he'd mentioned he did not like the idea of the caps lock key because he was concerned about what happens if you enter in a password and your caps lock key is down. Well, I've had issues with my fingerprint sensor lately, and I should really go try to redo my fingerprints. But so I've had to do the password when I want to unlock things like with autofill and Safari, where you can't always use the watch. And a couple times it has said caps lock down, but it will still let me enter my password normally with the capital and lowercase letters. And so I've kind of come to the theory that at least when it comes to your master password, the status of the caps lock key might not be relevant. So that is something interesting that I have noticed. And what's really weird is, even though it'll say caps lock down, if I go anywhere else, I check my actual caps lock and it says it's off. And I think I did do an experiment to see with it on, and still had the same result. So that I thought was a little bit interesting, that they may have. I can't say it'll be that same way. I've not tried it for, like, say, entering a password within, like, a website on Safari, for instance. I've not tried that, but for the master password, it actually may not matter. I'm using the term may, as I've not done extensive testing with it, but so far my experiences have led me to believe that.
Awesome. That's good to know. I'd forgotten you'd mentioned that, and need to remember that. So yeah, maybe some of you will feel like, because I always use the caps lock for my VO key. It's just easier. It's familiar from Windows. It's, you just press one key instead of two. But yeah, if you have trouble entering your password or think it's down or something, that might be discouraging. But if it's actually not preventing you from doing anything, then that's even better. All right. Anyone else want to share, make a comment, have a question?
This is Darcy with sort of a follow-up to Suva's
Sure,
thing.
go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if this is helpful or not because it's a little weird to set up, although I might be able to help in that regard. I was just looking in shortcuts in the Shortcuts app on the Mac, and one of the things you can do in shortcuts is there's a shortcut. Well, there's actually two shortcut actions, and I'm not really sure of the difference. One of them, there's for invert colors, there's like classic invert and smart invert. I don't really use those features, so I don't really know what they are. But where that's interesting is you could, since it's a shortcut thing, you could actually make a shortcut and add it to like the keyboard commander, and then you could press it and trigger the invert thing, and that might be easier than turning voiceover on and off. It's a little tricky to set up if you've never used shortcuts or done anything with keyboard commander before, but it might be one of those things that ultimately might make things easier.
This is Brad.
Yes, Brad?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I didn't even think about using keyboard commander or You can also set it up as an action under numpad commander if you're using a full-size keyboard. And the difference in classic invert and smart invert is classic invert inverts everything, including pictures, graphics.
Oh, yeah, that's
Smart
right.
invert does not. And the pictures are supposed to look normal. It can tell the difference in a picture or something like that, and it does not invert it. So the
Right.
sky will still be blue.
This is super.
Yes, Suva.
Thank you very much for those suggestions. Does anyone want to like go a little bit more detail? I never used a keyboard shortcut. I know this is like a little new, but like where is it already built in? Do I have to download anything, or is it all good? Just go to the.
This is Darcy.
This
Yeah,
is Brad.
Darcy,
Oh.
and then Brad.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, so there's it's kind of I actually don't think this is the greatest name for it because there's keyboard shortcuts and everything, but then there's actually an app that Apple has called Shortcuts, and it's sort of an automation tool where you can they have these what they call actions, and an action then a shortcut is basically all these different actions kind of strung together, and a lot of times you can do things with just a single action, right? So you can make a shortcut that's just a single action, like we said, turn on. Maybe you might have something to turn on do not disturb, or in this case, turn on the smart invert colors. And once you make a shortcut, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. You can run it from, there's a menu bar option to run it from. You can run it from, I think you can trigger it from Spotlight, but you can also trigger shortcuts from VoiceOver's keyboard commander. And what the keyboard and I hadn't even thought about the numpad commander because I don't have a keyboard with a numpad, but what you can actually do in any of these commanders is you can set a key to do something. So like VoiceOver has a lot of commands that aren't already pre-assigned to a keyboard shortcut. Like the one I use, for example, the one I add is one to toggle the DOM and groups mode in web browsing. But there are a few built-in keyboard commander things which are useful, and all the VoiceOver keyboard commander stuff is done with the right option key and another key. So one of the built-in ones, for example, is the right option key and the letter T, and that will announce the time. So there's built-in ones. I have one, for example, that I made. I have VoiceOver in the letter A, which mutes or unmutes my microphone. So wherever I am, so like if I'm not in the Zoom window, for example, and I want to mute, I just hit VO or right option A, and it mutes my microphone. So the keyboard commander is just a way to, and I think by default, option M might open Mail, option S might open Safari. So it's just a way to do things quickly that aren't kind of built in by default. So you could make one of these keyboard commander things that runs a shortcut to turn on the invert colors thing. So hopefully that made sense. That actually might be something that might be worth doing a demo about at some point. But because I think keyboard commander is a really powerful thing, and you can do a lot of neat things with it. And it's probably maybe not something that people are using. I don't know if you cover that in your lessons or not.
I allude to it, and I've done a demo briefly once on Mac and Talk, but it's been a while since we've talked about it, so it's definitely worth going over again at some point.
So hopefully that all made sense.
Yeah, who was just speaking?
This is Pete.
Yes, Pete, go ahead.
Darcy, do you know if my left hand, I'm losing dexterity and sense of touch, so certain gyration type keystroke combinations with my left hand are difficult, like the what's the applications menu? What is it? Command Shift or Command what is it?
VO Shift M.
VO Shift M.
Shift M. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is that something I might program? Something as common as a keyboard command?
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I
VO
think they have a
Shift
lot
M
of
is
those.
a voice. So, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut anybody off. The VoiceOver keyboard commander allows you to program VoiceOver specific commands. So you couldn't remap, let's say, Command S, that's something
Mac,
that's a
right?
Mac command, so you would change that. Well, some people in Mail like to change their send command instead of Command Shift D. That's done in keyboard shortcuts and system
Ah,
preferences,
cool.
but voiceover commands can definitely be changed with the keyboard commander. So,
That's an excellent idea. I use Amadeus Pro also, which those of
oh,
you
so does
who
Herbie.
use it, that's a lot of left-hand work with the ASDF keys and things like that. So, but that command shift, whatever that applications menu is a bear. So I will try that. Thanks much.
And you can even use, I actually have my keyboard commander set to use both option keys. So I can, whatever's more ergonomic, like it, might make more sense to press right option T, but, left option, I think I have left option U for something or left option M, or
Really?
you can use either one.
This is Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy.
Now, does that give you trouble for things that use the single option key? Like, for example, in Zoom, option Y raises and lowers your hand. If you set the keyboard commander to grab both option keys, does that then take out
Hmm.
the? Because I would
I
think
have
that it
not had
would.
it's told me
No,
that it would give me trouble, but so far it
but
hasn't.
this is Doc.
Yeah, Doc.
When you get a moment, I found that answer for that changing the name on the Magic Mouse,
Oh,
and it's fairly simple.
okay. So we're still talking. I think,
Yeah.
did we have anything else on the keyboard commander or commands or whatever? Or were we good on that subject? We've been kind
I
of
just
moving.
wanted to add, this is Pete. Sorry,
Sure.
Chanel. I've programmed my numpad commander and it's dynamite because
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all I need to do for instead of a VO space bar to select, I hit the number 5 button.
Yeah,
VO right arrow is the number 6. So a lot of those
Nice.
I've
have
actually.
been shortened and they're really cool.
This is
You could
Darcy. I've
even,
actually contemplated getting an external number pad just for that reason because it just sounds amazing what you can do
Yeah.
with it.
And there's individual buttons for all kinds of menus. In fact, maybe that
yeah.
applications menu is on there. Maybe I ought to just look at
You
that.
could you could program a numpad key to get into the applications menu, certainly.
Uh,
And
Dynamite.
yep, there you go.
Yeah, but those one button commands for those VO basic commands are excellent.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's good. See, you don't need my class. You're figuring it out all already. Um, all right, so let's go ahead and hear what Doc has to say.
Hey, what I found, it says you open the Apple menu, you go to System Preferences, Bluetooth, and then once in there, you find your Magic Mouse and you right click it, or it says our control click, and then you'll see the option to rename.
Okay. Well, I hope that works for you, Suva, if you're still here.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. I've been listening to all the suggestions. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Doc, for that research. We definitely
Yeah, but
appreciate it. Does anyone have a question during the last few minutes on anything else or to address something previously or well, I definitely appreciate all of the new people for coming in. Um, Brenda and Kathy and Karen and for our old timers for coming. Glad to have. And I see Marvin here's been in our audience, and we definitely appreciate you coming. Our next Mac and Talk will be on August 23rd. Same time, same place. Um, Are there any last questions?
Pete,
Yes, Pete, go
I
ahead.
was just, I'm sorry, I was following up on my on my numpad commander. It does
No,
look
go
like there's
ahead.
there is an applications menu key. It doesn't say applications menu. Um,
Let
it's
me
um,
see.
it just says menu, but there are 11 items in it, which I would sounds like it would be the
Well,
applications menu.
if I do VO Shift, I've turned on my keyboard help. If I do
Hmm.
VO Shift M, it's called Open Shortcut Menu. So try looking for that.
Okay, I'll do that.
And that could be in general, that could be in, I don't remember all the different categories,
Right.
but I believe it's called the shortcut menu, whereas VOM is go to menu bar. So
Excellent. Okay.
that's what my little keyboard help says as I have it
Oh,
on.
well, that's a big keyboard help.
Yep.
Thank you.
This
Yeah.
is Sonia.
Yes, Sandhya?
Okay, I just ordered a new keyboard. So it might be a bigger question than what we have left. Okay, so I ordered a Logitech 380, K380,
Uh-huh.
and it was supposed to be a replacement for the one I had before. And so then when I was pairing it with the Mac, it says something like unable to identify your keyboard because you would expect it to say Logitech or whatever. So then I says, well, hit the key to the left, and all these little things to try to figure out what it is. then and then I started trying to use it yesterday for the Zoom call, and like none of the keys are configured differently. Like the function key is the second to the end instead of on the end. I mean, I
Oh.
would think if it's the same model that it would be the same, right? But
Yeah,
and
if
then
you've used it before with the Mac and
This
you,
is Brad.
yeah, Brad.
Does that keyboard have a setting to make it either be Windows or Mac? Because that sounds like it's got a Windows layout.
mm,
So there must be something somewhere that lets you change the layout.
okay.
And then what
Okay.
was it doing to your option and command key? Were they
So it put
switched?
the control at the end and then the option in the middle. So it's like the four keys. So it's basically control, FN, option, and command.
Okay,
Oh,
but
weird.
command was still next to the
Uh
space
huh.
bar.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting. Because on a real Windows keyboard, the command and the option are switched. The option is next to the space bar
Uh,
where the alt key would be,
but do you?
and the command key is where the Windows key would be
Okay.
when I've used a Windows keyboard on my Mac.
Well, I'm thinking. This is Sonia. I'm thinking about maybe just redoing it again. I mean, could it be that whatever I chose messed up? That's not true. I mean, those are. I didn't map the
I would
keyboard.
think there's a
No.
switch on the keyboard
There is, I believe.
to
This is
switch
Pete.
layout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
there's sort of in the middle toward the top. They're kind of two
okay.
flat buttons, I think. And there's a Windows, and I'm pretty sure there's a Mac. But I remember having this. I'm sorry, Chanel. This is
No,
Pete.
this is fine. This is good.
I remember having something similar happen when I tried to pair my K380, and it gave me all kinds of funky things when I pressed the hyphen key. It gave me a star, asterisk, and all kinds of weird things. I think I tried those, the toggle button from Windows to Mac, and I don't think that helped. So I'm not quite sure how to resolve it. Sorry.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, Sandhya, maybe you can find that toggle button and hopefully it helps. If not, I
I'm
don't
still in
know.
my 30 days. So
Yeah, okay.
I just was so it was only my one Amazon Prime Day purchase. So it was like,
Ah,
oh well, okay, thank you.
thank you. All right. Well, as I said, thanks everyone for coming. It's been good and hope you learned something and come back next month with your questions and comments and all that good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your week and thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.